This video is sponsored by Skillshare. Today I'm going to transform my office into a more comfortable space to work and edit in, and also give some attention to the acoustics by treating the walls and the floor to reduce the reflections in the room. I spend a lot of time in this office designing, drawing, planning and editing. Since I moved into a new house at the beginning of last year, 2021, and this is what the room looked like before I moved in, I have only recently had the opportunity to renovate the room with a fresh coat of paint on the walls and a new floor where before I had very old and dirty carpet. Even though it already looks a million times better, my old desk setup is well old, and I think I can use the space in the room much better. At the end of the video, I will show you what the transformation will look like and how the acoustic treatment has resulted in a comfortable space to work in. I used the SketchUp to quickly draw up a design of what I like, and also try to incorporate some form of cable management and estimate where the acoustic panels will go on the wall, together with some other functional and decorative items. The design is built around a channel that secures onto the wall to house the power strip, power bricks and cables. This is covered with removable panels with slots and holes at intervals along the length of the channel for cables to pass through. The desktop cantilevers of this channel with supports on both ends as they meet the side walls and two supports in the middle. I tried to keep everything as slim and sleek as possible so it looks like the desk is floating off the back and side walls. A few slim drawers will be built in on either side of the center seating position. The channel parts are measured and cut from 16mm melamine board. This might not seem like a strong enough material, but with the right construction and joining methods, it can be very strong and suitable for the purpose. I would have preferred and would recommend to rather use a plywood, but I used what I had large enough offcuts of in the workshop at the time. The rip cuts are performed on the table saw and the cross cuts on the miter saw. The supports for the desktop on the side walls and the center supports are cut from 18mm external pine ply. Again, because it is what I had on hand, and you will not see these supports unless you go crawling around underneath the desk. I have quite an interesting countertop material that I will be using for the desktop, so stick around to see what it is a little bit later in the video. Now that I have cut all the parts that I will need to assemble the channel, I am preparing for the assembly. First, I drill a few larger holes in the front piece of the channel so that I can later on have access with my drill and screwdriver to fix it to the wall. I then round over the edges of the holes to give it a smooth look and get rid of some of the melamine chips around the edge of the holes. I mark out with a square where a few structural supports will go inside the channel, and then I start to assemble the channel further. So now a few words about today's sponsor, Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for anyone who wants to explore their creativity and to learn new skills. It can help you make 2022 a year of new growth and connection through creativity. At the moment, I'm following a specific class, Find Your Style, 5 exercises to unlock your creative identity, hosted by Andy J. Pizza. Now, Andy is a very energetic and passionate person, and he really made this class fun to follow. I've been a designer now for more than 25 years, and I think by now I have found my style, but something I've learned over the years is to never be complacent with where you are. That is why this class really inspired me to look constantly into developing my creative identity further, and Andy uses some very creative and fun methods to help you through this process. So, just as I did, you can invest in your personal growth and the discovery of new skills. The first 1,000 people to use the link in the description below will get 1 month free trial of Skillshare. Thank you Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Initially I use a brad nailer to secure the panels together, and then go on to use screws to fix the panels more securely. Pre-drilling holes for the screws are essential to avoid the melamine cracking when driving in the screws. I also fixed this stripped into place off camera, and this will provide a lip for the back edge of the countertop to rest on. A cutout is needed in each of the two supports to fit around the channel, and I also cut an angle so that the profile of the support is reduced when viewing the desk from the front. The supports are lined up in place and secured with brad nails first, and then with screws from the inside of the channel. The countertop I selected is called Baubuche and is manufactured exclusively by Paul Meyer. Roughly directly translated, Baubuche means building or construction beechwood. Peeled veneer layers of 3mm in thickness are parallel or cross-laminated and turned into beams, boards and panels. This panel is 20mm thick. Other thicknesses are also available, such as 35mm and 45mm panels. After sanding it smooth with 240 grit sandpaper, I apply a water-based polyurethane in 3 coats. It is also recommended to cover both sides of the panel to avoid it warping. I will put a link in the description below where you can go find out more about this product. After clearing the office of the equipment and old desk, I constructed 2 supports to help me level the channel against the wall at the correct height. I also set up the laser level to further level the channel before drilling holes to secure it to the wall. An old envelope is secured to the wall with masking tape underneath, where I will drill the holes in the brick wall to catch as much of the dust as possible. The channel is placed back into position and fixed with nylon anchors before removing the supports. The desktop has to be supported on both ends to the side walls, and for this I attach wall mounted support strips to the side walls for the desktop to rest on. The channel will be covered with removable 12mm birch plywood panels to access the cables and power bricks. However, these are 2 short fixed panels that will help give the channel some structure and support in line with the cantilevered front supports. The main power strip will also be housed in the channel, with 1 power cable coming down to the wall plug through this hole I am drilling here. Before I can put the desktop in place, I fix a number of L brackets to the channel and desktop supports to fix the top in place from the underside with screws. The 12mm birch panels that will cover the channel will have a few slots cut into it that allows wires to pass through. I bought a wall-mounted monitor arm from Amazon for the 29-inch monitor. I will leave a link in the description to the model that I purchased. Now that the desk and cable channel is done, I can divert my attention to making a few acoustic panels that will help to reduce the reflections in the room. I am using 22 by 69mm planed all-round pine and cutting the pieces to length on the miter saw and then screw together with simple butt joints. To fix the panels to the wall, I will use split battens. A batten that is split across its length at a 45-degree angle. One part is fixed to the frame and the other to the wall. The white fabric that I selected to cover the panels with is stretched over the frame and secured with staples. I start in the middle of one side, then the opposite side, and work my way towards the corners, stretching the fabric tight to eliminate any creases. To neaten the acoustic panels after stretching the fabric over, I fixed 12mm birch plywood strips all around to create a frame. I like the way that it frames the panel and contrasts against the white wall rather than blending in. I am using 63mm thick cavity batt glass wool as the soundproofing insulation in the frames, and these are typically used in the soundproofing and insulation of drywalls. The other half of the split batten is secured to the wall with nylon anchors, and I test fit the acoustic panels. In a previous build, check the card top right or the link in the description below. I made skyline diffusers, and just above and behind the monitor seems to be the perfect place to use them. Not only are they functional in scattering the sound, but they also look great. With most of the work done, I can go ahead and put all my equipment in place in the way I like it. The final touch is to roll out the carpet and check out my new seating position at the desk. There are still a few more practical and decorative things I want to do, for example bolt the drawers that will go left and right of the seating position, as well as a few picture frames on the wall above the skyline diffusers. But I have run out of time and will have to leave that for another time. In the meantime, I have definitely achieved my goal of having a more comfortable and organized space to edit in, and a space that sounds good too. In the next two clips you can hear a before and after as I clap my hand against my leg. The difference is remarkable and I am very pleased with the outcome. Well, I really hope that you enjoyed this project. It is something I wanted to sort out for some time now. Subscribe and keep watching for some exciting projects to come. If you want to support me further, please check out my Patreon page. There's a link in the description below, or become a YouTube member by clicking the join button below. Thanks for watching, and until next time, adios.